Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm just getting the cards ready, and as you can see, new background, new country, new living space, actually everything. My life is completely different since the last video that I had recorded, and I'm excited to do this reading and to see what comes up in this way. So those of you who are new, welcome. My readings are always combined with just the wisdom I have gained from different areas of my life, working in different jobs, starting a business, and just wisdom through going through such diverse circumstances in my life thus far, and how those are so relevant in the readings because they are what offer solutions. Reading is what highlights what is going on within you and possibly what you can look at, the areas to look at. But it is my wisdom that I combine with it to really give you more pragmatic solutions, because I think just having a reading presented to you sometimes is not enough, because that can be just done by almost anyone. And I have always found that I just have this like spiritual side of me, but also a very like realistic, pragmatic side to me, and I choose to combine them both because the magic really resides in that, and I feel like the magic really resides in like having this deck spread out with this color within life, but combining it with a very strategic steps that we take. And that is exactly why I combine this masculine and very feminine aspects within my life together to bring joy to just little moments, and record them in these videos too. So I do hope you enjoy this video, and let's see what comes up in these. So I am going to choose, we haven't done this millennial tarot deck in so long, so I'm excited to see what comes up. Do note that if you want coaching advice, business starting advice, career advice, that is what my speciality is, as well as like confidence coaching for women. I don't do that for men yet. Maybe I will do someday, but I specialize it for women, especially women in tech, women in space, tech, engineering sector. I have worked in quite a few different sectors, including defense, including motorsports, manufacturing, startups, academia, research-based roles. I've also worked in that. So if you want clarity as to what you're meant to do in your life, as to what next role should be, that's something I can really help you. But obviously it's not limited to tech, because I also help you in how to develop confidence and asking for a higher salary, asking for a not just a higher salary, a package that is very suited to your life and really bring you that clarity and that confidence to be able to have those hard conversations at work or with different people, if that is something you struggle with. All right, let's begin. I have spoken enough. Right, I'm going to put that in the intro. So let's see what comes up. Since this is a big deck, I'm going to just lay it out here. I'm sorry you can't see it. I need to sort out cameras and stuff, so at some point I will. I hope I will. All right, let's see. 10 of Thoughts, end of a chapter. End of a chapter, end of a very long road of lessons learning. We just had this eclipse, so it is very much relevant to that, I think. Very much relevant to that. So it's very much like it's kind of like saying, you have learned so many lessons in the last couple of months, weeks. I know I have, having started a business and like going on this solopreneur journey. That was a weird choice of words. The solopreneur journey, and having looked at so much, such as developing a business plan, marketing, sales, strategy, constantly just redefining the product, what will sell, what doesn't, how to find the right target audience, and all of these aspects. It's still kind of like ongoing, but I have just finally had this last 2 weeks of a break to really reflect on how much I have learned. And so this is actually not necessarily a card of like, oh God, like, you're just burnt out or anything. Not necessarily. It's more reflection of so far the things you have done and really looking at that. We have just come out of this winter season, and it's a great time to reflect on thus far how your path has been, and perhaps even appreciating the way it has unfolded. Because when I look at the fact that last 3 years I was living abroad, and how much that has served me by coming back to a place where, my home country, well, not necessarily my home country, but kind of my home country, and and kind of like seeing how I am here now, it's vastly, vastly different in the very best ways. This is why your internal growth, your internal spiritual growth will be the biggest investment you will ever make. And if you make that investment, if you work through your triggers, if you work through the points in your life that hold you back, your past traumas, because eventually they will surface up, they live in your body, and they may manifest as like a health problem or some sort of an issue. Whereas if you address it by going one step at a time, which is what I did in the last 3 years intensively, and I finally feel like, okay, that is finally like feeling like, right, maybe that was worth the investment. Now that I feel like I have myself back, I'm not like shut down, and it's like really opportunities are opening up. The thinking of my mind is a lot clearer, and what I want to create and how I want to be, it's just becoming a lot clearer. And that's what I think is maybe relevant to you too. The specific story that I just described may be relevant to you, but also if you've just gone through like a whole load of lessons, repeating patterns, ending those, do look at those and really celebrate how far you have come, because it's not easy. It's not easy. Definitely wasn't for me. And for some of you, this will be in relationships. For me, I just described my work, career-related journey. But for some of you, this will be a business-related, relationship-related journey. That if you have been calling similar kind of partners, similar kind of like people who you have dated, and now if you're shifting out of that pattern, that's something to celebrate. All right, then we did get Page of Vibes, which is Page of Wands. Receiving a message. House DJ. Okay. This is a card of certain passion, reigniting a passion. To me, it sounds like we are in Aries. We just had this Aries eclipse, right? So that is something to note, because that is a very fiery, punchy, full of motivation kind of energy. We're also entering spring, so you are going to feel that a lot more. But that is something to note. Aries is a fire sign. You will be feeling a lot more motivated, perhaps in this moment, more so than before. Maybe you're going to be meeting right people who are going to join you, and that's going to fuel that motivation even more. I have met some right people right now, and my motivation is through the roof, like as to what I want to do next. The ideas are just flowing, and that's combined with good amount of rest, not just output, right? So we have to balance it out. So it's that kind of thing. So do make use of this motivation as a gift that is coming to you. 5 of Thoughts. Okay, 5 of Swords. All right, so this is what I get for this card. This to me seems like someone feels like they're not going to make it to a certain point, whether that's money, a relationship, or something that you feel like, I just don't know how. It's that question that plays in your mind again and again. Like, I just don't know how I'm going to do it. I just don't know. I can see what I want, which is with this reignited passion and things that you're wanting in your life, relationship, business, whatever it is. But you just don't know how it's going to come. And almost that asking of how, like, how can it come, is really like, I don't want to say hindering, but it's almost like creating this spiral of like, I don't know how I'm going to do it. And then it's kind of leading to, oh, I'm like not gonna be able to make it, not gonna, I'm gonna have to get a certain, I'm gonna have to settle for something else, I'm gonna have to settle for this. Those thoughts may come up a lot more, and you're thinking, oh my God, I'm gonna have to go to that same environment or be in that same way. And the truth is, that's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. The right support is coming to you, because this card does say gaslighting at the bottom, which is, for me, this card I would interpret as self-gaslighting, even so. But if you are in an environment where people are not right for you, so let's just focus on the question, how do you recognize if it's a wrong environment? Number one sign is you just feel drained. You just feel drained, completely drained. You're like, rather than feeling energized after a day of work, you feel drained. And you feel that once in a while, okay, but if you feel that consistently, that environment is not good for you. That means either you need to like move into a different office, different workplace, or like you need to change your environment somehow. Could be very small. You need to just find another project that you want to work on. You don't want to work with certain people who drain your energy. Or there is another way. There is another way, which is the hardest way, which is you develop strong boundaries. Heck of a lot of strong boundaries. And if you want help with that, book a session with me. That's what I specialize in. I have done extensive training on self-defense coaching, and I am a self-defense coach as well as an engineer, and as well as a reader. I have experimented many different things, many different walks of life, developed different personalities, and that's how I can confidently say that you don't want to actually change the environment, and be in a different place necessarily. What you want to do is, the strongest thing that you can do is be in a workplace, have such boundaries, as well as be so resilient with your energy that you're actually influencing the room. You're actually in, like, every thing is kind of deflecting, like almost like I see like an arrow shooting towards you, and it's like draining, oh sorry, that's a horrible imagery, but like arrow hitting you, and it's kind of like draining your energy. But instead you have this like bubble around you, which is kind of just deflecting those arrows, those kind of like energy drainers, and which leaves you still intact with your boundaries set and zero tolerance for any disrespectful or any kind of like behavior that's going to impact your self-worth in any way. That is what is coming up, that there is another way. You can either set strong boundaries and influence the energy around in your workplace so that everyone looks at you almost like an example to follow, like a role model to follow. Or if that is too soon to do right now, then change your environment. Life's too short to be stuck in an environment where you develop wrinkles. I'm not about that life. So yes, consider another opportunity if it's too hard to set those boundaries. Especially if you're an empath, that is going to be hard to do, really hard to do. Beautiful quality to be an empath, but it's going to be hard to do, and you're going to need strong boundaries. And sometimes we don't need to be that strong. We just need to leave. Yeah, so there's a balance. But let's see what comes next. Lots of swords. Okay, Nine of Swords. So I was just talking about this work environment or the environment you are in. Okay, so I think there's a pattern, and then you got the Sunday scaries, right? So this has got to be with work. Yeah, this has got to do with work. So someone is struggling at work. I remember those days. I don't have those days anymore, um, because I no longer choose that for myself. And but it does take work. I understand it took a lot of focused self-worth, sorry, not worth, self-work. No, self-work to really get to that point. It took so much journaling, so much really reflecting on each different area of my life, reflecting on how different personalities interact with other personalities and how that interaction comes about. So, yeah, Nine of Swords, that's what I get. You get Sunday scaries. Every Sunday evening, you're feeling like, oh gosh, I want the weekend to be longer. That's what you're hoping for. And you're hoping for, like, I just want my life to be more enjoyable, more like you want to do more things that you are really, you have time for. You want to take care of your health, and you're like, I don't want to be in this environment. This is work. This is not. You want to keep your work life separate, and you want longer time for play, some sort of that kind of life balance. You're so someone is feeling really unhappy with their life, and you're trying to work out a solution that is a bit more detailed. That it requires, if you're looking for a solution for that does require a bit more details to be looked at. But it's not impossible, because I've done it, and I did it. Even until this point, I'm doing it still, and I allow myself that time and space to be able to do it. And which does come with, like, some sacrifices. Yes, there are some sacrifices, of course. Like, I could have climbed the corporate ladder, and I could have gained a heck of a lot more money and a heck of a lot more, what's the word? Like a status. I could have had that, and that was a route for me that I was on, and I chose to exit that route, because I prioritized the play, the fun, the real self growth, the learning, the other aspects of life, my love for languages, pursuing that. That's why I went abroad, and that does come with a bit of a cost. And maybe for some people it doesn't have to, but for me it did. I had to. A lot of my friends bought houses and, like, invested, have mortgages, and all those things, and that's something I'm working on now, but that's not something I was focused on at that point in my life. But it depends on what you're looking for, and you have to prioritize in each phase of your life. So let's have a look next. Yes, the Magician. Okay, so ooh, excuse me. So anyone trying to get out of this Nine of Swords energy, which is the Sunday scaries, you're feeling like, oh my God, I don't want to go to work tomorrow. I don't want to. Anyone who's feeling that way, it's time to really focus on, well, so the Magician card is envisioning the future. So one trick that I learned was, which you want to highlight the fact, what is actually causing that stress, at work tomorrow. What one situation is really causing that stress in your mind? And it's like, oh my God, I don't know what to do. I don't want to go to work, and I don't know how to tackle the situation, because I'll have to either see a certain person, I'll have to deal with a certain client, I'll have to deal with a certain situation at work. I don't have, I don't know, the data or the report ready. It still needs work on it. So it's like something that is causing that stress within you. And it's really good idea to identify what is causing that stress really, and how can that be minimized. That one thing, if that one thing was like sorted, how, or at least if you had support, maybe it's just that you need help with it, you don't have enough information to be able to really accelerate the growth of it. Asking help from the right people can be massively helpful for your just health, and just even like feeling like you are supported in your goals, or like trying to get a certain report done or something like that. I often, when I was working in academia, I often used to ask some of the students to help me out with results generation, and I would analyze that with them, and then I would train the students on different equipment. And that was so useful for me. And realizing that I also have a passion for teaching, combining that with just like this learning teaching experience and this interaction, yeah, it just, you just don't have to do it alone. And don't do it alone, because it's harder, much harder. I've tried it and it's much harder. Ask for help as much as possible. 10 of Pentacles, generational wealth. All right, okay. Anyone who's worried about next level of money, or like next level of feeling like, oh, we have had a full journey. We went from 10 of Swords, which is the 10 of Thoughts, where you're like, I can't even, like, it's just been so much obstacle after obstacle dealing with that, you know, and then kind of having this passion reigniting right now, which you should be using for your next steps, and then kind of like fluctuating between these phases of like kind of gaslighting yourself, but also feeling these like Sunday scaries, and like feeling like I don't know what to do, and then having this like magician card where you're kind of envisioning the future and what to do next, and combining that with even a plan for money. Now, this has always been very useful. In like when I was creating business plans for my financial projections, and what I wanted that to look like, which products I wanted to really be, you know, kind of making the most money. I was really like creating this plan, what that would look like in my day to day. Like, what would that look like if I had this many clients on this day and I was working this job, and if I, you know, for that sessions, I charged this amount of money and stacked it up. Is that something I would be satisfied with, or is that something that I'm not going to survive on and I'm going to have to do, you know? And then you may have some tax calculations and stuff. This is very specific. This is for people who are starting businesses. And yeah, so that's something you might want to consider too, but it's not something necessarily to worry about. It's actually a combination of this visionary this vision that you may have of your next steps, whether that's a job. You want to combine it with how much money you want as well, and what that would translate into the lifestyle. This is a full kind of like scripting or vision board kind of exercise. If you would like a vision board or scripting exercise, a video, do let me know, because that's pretty much how I got or I manifested everything that I had wanted, and to kind of great accuracy. And it took a lot of practice. I sound like I'm bragging, but it's not. It's because it took a heck of a lot of practice, and I finally mastered it, and I feel really like, okay, wow, I did that, and now it's really helpful. Okay, last card. Again, Swords. Eight of Swords, or Thoughts. All right, someone's feeling interesting. We got the lockdown card. But someone is feeling very trapped. Someone is feeling a bit like feeling kind of trapped in a certain situation. Okay, you're very much fluctuating. The cards here, if I could show you the spread, it's like a card that is more like you know, sort of like certain not negative, self-doubt based thoughts, or even just thoughts that are not necessarily self-doubt based, but just like how like your situation that you're currently in is not serving you, it's not good, and then going down to like going going up to more like vision based. Okay, creating this plan, what kind of money you want, this, and then having this fiery passion energy, and then kind of stepping down into this phase of like feeling, yeah, this almost like having this imposter syndrome as well, and then kind of having Sunday scaries again because you have too much to do, and then it's fluctuation. It sounds like someone, if this is for one person, if you're feeling this way, yeah, this is a hard stage to be in because you're feeling kind of like, up and down in your emotions, and you can't manifest something unless you're a bit more consistent with the feeling of it. So what do I recommend? What is the solution? Well, what you can try is, and I'm by no means really, really good at it, but what has helped me in the past is having a set time in the morning. Like I do like the 5-minute journal. You can probably see it here, this yellow one. I do like 5 minutes of that, and I really dedicate time to it. Admittedly, that has become easier because I work for myself. I create my own routine at the moment. But when I had a job, and especially with commuting, if you're commuting to a job, it is a little bit harder. But if you can carve out just 5 to 10 minutes to just dream, and making it almost like a little mini habit, like, oh, if I had all the money in the world, then I would do this. Or if I had, just the time in the world, I would do this. And just having that time to really like dream a bit more as to what you're wanting, so that your inner feelings are a bit more consistent for just like even a week or two, or like a month would be great, of course, but even for a week or two, if it's consistent for that, that's perfect, because then you're more aligned with what you're calling in next and how you want to make it better. Another message I got was someone who's having these Sunday scaries, if you get them quite often, where you don't want to go to work, focusing on something at work which actually does please you can help you. For example, getting a Starbucks to, not just Starbucks, but like morning coffee from somewhere like a nice cafe. When I was in Germany, certain days where I had very intense research work that I was doing for a conference presentation, I would go in the morning to this local cafe, and I would get like a croissant and this coffee every morning, and I would just like have this mini conversation with the person at the cafe in German, and it was just so like such a heartful routine. And sometimes I'd have my bike and take my bike with me, having this coffee and with my croissant. I don't know, it was just like really like nice and sweet routine that just made my day so beautiful, or at least it started off beautifully, and that's what you might benefit from as well. So maybe having those little things, just little moments that just help you in those next steps, is really, really can make a difference. Because sometimes our morning coffees are really just the most joyful things ever. To at least start off the days at least. All right, I'm going to end the reading there. I think there was a lot of messages, but it feels like someone needs to have a bit more consistency in their thoughts. It's really fluctuating quite a lot, going from the extremes, which is like I can't deal with it, and then to like going to the next stage, which is fiery passion to just get things done, and then you're stopped by this imposter syndrome thoughts. Then you're like, I don't even want to go to work, and then the next minute you're feeling like, all right, I want to like create something new, I want something different, and then you kind of go into that phase and then feeling trapped. It's a very like fluctuating emotional state. No wonder someone is exhausted. So if you are feeling exhausted, try and get it to consistency and use the techniques I have mentioned here. Do remember, if you want personal help for your personal situations, because that would look differently. I can't do that in these videos, but if you would like that, you can book a session with me. And just send me an email or on my Instagram. You can always message me there. and I will help you on that. All right. I hope you have a great week, and I hope you enjoyed this reading. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, and I'll see you in the next one.